Hello and welcome to this quick video aimed at all of you that get in touch with me on a pretty regular basis, letting me know that your aircraft model, either something like a fixed wing or even when it's just a flight control on the bench, is consistently beeping and driving you slightly bonkers. Now, INAV is very clever. It uses the beeper along with other things, so you can either have your on-screen display, you can have telemetry back to the radio, you can have it connected to INAV configurator to see what's going on. The beeper is also a great way to INAV to let you know if something is happening. If you hear something like this, or even this, then INAV is actually telling you something very specific. And occasionally I'll just get these, well, not occasionally, actually quite regularly, I'll get messages from both viewers, subscribers and Patreons who fall into this kind of trap and who are really confused about what the heck is going on. Now, there are a couple of really good resources. The first one that I'll refer you to is this page here. This is part of the INAV stuff. This talks about the buzzer and how you can set it up. It has this kind of setup, what the different sequences are, and this is a bit complicated to kind of follow. However, there is this fantastic tool here. I'm going to put a link to this below. This is Mr. D, Darren, who is a fantastic guy and also an INAV developer who's actually put them all out like this to make it so much easier. But we'll come back to this in a second. In normal operation, you should only ever hear the beeper going off a couple of times, really. One to let you know there's a GPS lock, and that sounds kind of like this. And the other one, if you have auto launch enabled on your plane, when you arm the plane and you stick it into auto launch, and I have auto launch permanently enabled, you'll hear this beeping first of all until I raise my throttle to the maximum position, and then it will change to this. That beeping is letting me know that it is ready to throw, and it's an important safety feature to let you know that the model is armed, and as soon as it feels that it's been thrown, it's going to start spinning that throttle. So it's essentially in a dangerous situation, and that's why the beeper's going off. Now, there is a number of times where the beeper will be continually sounding. Let's just have a listen to what a few of those are. And some of these will happen because you might have something that isn't connected when you're setting up. So you might not have the receiver connected, so it's basically telling you the receiver signal's been lost. It might be that you haven't got the main battery connected, or if you have got a battery connected, it's considering that battery is critical. Things like also the stuff I've already talked about, the auto launch settings, these are all things that will go off continuously, and they will drive you a little nuts because these buzzers, particularly in closed environments like a workshop or an office, can be really deafening. So going back on Darren's website, you can see here that here are all of the noises that an INAV plane or model will make, and you can see here there's a couple that says that they are going to repeat. So these are the ones that are going to carry on all the time, and these are the ones that I would just listen to see which is the one you're interested in. In terms of the ones you're going to hear on a regular flight, you'll hear this one, the runtime calibration, when the flight controller is calibrated. Then you'll also hear the arming tone when you arm it. And then you'll hear initially that launch mode low throttle. And it'll actually sound more like this. And while it's doing this, it's telling you that you need to raise the throttle. When you raise the throttle, it'll then sound like this. And that's telling you that it's ready to be thrown. However, there's a couple of other ones here that are going to carry on and keep going. So this battery critical, or the battery critical low, sounds like this. That's one that I will occasionally hear on the bench when I'm doing setup. The other one that you might hear is RX lost, and it sounds like this. And that's one that I commonly get when I'm setting up on the bench. So there's lots of different things that will make INAV continually beep. Some of them are letting you know there's a problem, like the receiver signal's been lost or the battery is critical. Others are standard things that you would expect to hear. And a lot of them boil down to the fact that you have auto launch turned on if you're doing something in fixed wing land. So if that's what's happening, then you know what? You can just turn auto launch off and see if that takes the problem away. Now there are a couple of other things that you can do in the CLI if you want to play. And it's covered here in this part of this page. And again, I'll put links down below to this. This explains how the buzzer works. It's the INAV documentation. What you can do is in here, you can type beeper into the CLI. That will show you what things are being beeped. And you can see all these different reasons that a beeper would go off at. That's that kind of list we've been looking at. So the runtime calibration was that little beep. Things like the GPS status is that little trilling noise. Things like the launch mode. You can turn them on and off. And you can do things like, say, beeper -on_USB, and that will stop them making a noise when you're connected to USB. Personally, I tend to just stick a piece of blue tack into the buzzer, the whole of the buzzer itself, and that tends to mute it enough. Or lots of modern flight controllers these days have a little switch that you can just flick to disable the beeper while you're doing things on the bench. Because once you know that the receiver isn't connected and that's why it's complaining, you can just kind of get on with a bit of configuration that you need. The big tip, of course, is do remember to re-enable the beeper. Once you've done that, either take off the little bit of blue tack from the buzzer. That blue tack is that kind of sticky stuff for those of you outside the UK that used to hang posters when you were a kid. I have a lot of it around. It gets used for everything, including holding little bits of stuff when I'm doing soldering. If you haven't got any of this, it's incredibly handy to have on the bench with everything else. But hopefully that's going to help those of you who have this problem where you're playing with INAV and it's just beeping all the time. It's perfectly normal. It's trying to tell you something. The tool that I've linked below will help you figure out what that is and what you need to do about it. Thank you for watching my video. Check out the playlist, and adding Pedantry 60 to your search terms will help you find my content. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. You can support the time I spend here answering questions and helping others by using the links in the video description.